What's
Ready
up,
to get
dude?
started? What's
Yeah.
up? Good to see you, Matt.
Cheers, dude.
Yeah,
How we
it's-
doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. I'm pretty excited, actually. This is the halfway point, right? Let's see. Yeah. When things start to get real, you know, we've got a little more work to do now. This is month 4, which we've named frequency.
This is Couch to 50K. How to finish your first ultra marathon.
We were just talking before the episode. I've been having to fight the confidence battle of it's still feeling like a long, scary distance, and needing and wanting to go out and do a lot. Because I've done a lot already. There's been a lot of training in the the first month we got off the couch. The second month we activated, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think
that
that's
was the
what it
first
was.
month. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll go back and look at the terms. But anyway, it's built a lot.
Sure.
I did do a lot of running last month, and a little bit of cross training, and just I feel great from it. I've kind of put the constant soreness and fatigue is kind of in the rear view now. I mean, I'm still getting sore from doing because everything is building, right? But it's not that same, like I haven't used that muscle in a year soreness, which was kind of brutal in like the second month when I really took it after we got off the couch, go up a little bit. Like month 2 is hard from a soreness and motivation standpoint, and just being tired all the time.
Yeah, I think we referred to it as the boring month.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was boring and kind of demotivating, right? But with a little bit of faith, I kind of turned that corner. And then last month was great. I did a bunch of workouts, started feeling strong. Started noticing those times where I felt like I could go longer or faster or find the bigger hill, which I did. We did some hill repeats. I did the first couple in the neighborhood, which, if you just looked at it, you might not even call it a hill, right? But we got one behind the shop here that kicked my ass pretty good.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about what we're about to get into.
Yeah, you're right. Frequency is the name of the game this month. And to go back to what you just mentioned about wanting to go longer, that's absolutely something that I think is probably on the top of mind right now for anybody that's following this program. Like, you're running often and you're running a lot more than you were, but you're not doing anything close to 33 miles. And so you've got enough time while you're out there to think about, like, whoa, 33 miles. Like, I'm only going out for 3 today. How much, like 30 more? Like, that's not even in the realm of what I'm doing. So, like, let me just go do 15. And yeah, I'm going to suffer through it, but at least I know, like, I'm going to get through 15. But what I'm going to say is, like, let's trust the process in that we're going to value the frequency of running over the duration still at this point. It's just something you're going to have to switch in your head. You don't have to be running far right now in order to be able to run far in June. You need to be good at getting out the door and going out for a run. And if you can double up, like we talked about, some days where you're running on tired legs, you're going to kind of mimic how you feel at mile 15 anyway, but you're not going to have to put in the 10 to extra 10 miles to get there. You're still your legs are going to be heavy. You're going to be tired from a day of running in the morning and then taking care of kids and working and doing all the things. And then you're going to go out for an evening run. And it's, you're going to be tired. And so you're going to get those, that overcoming, being tired and running. You're going to get that, through the frequency, but you're not going to abuse your body as hard.
Yeah.
Quite as much.
I like that. I could also see it, I thought, that was exactly my thought. I'm gonna go run 15 miles just to tell my brain that, okay, then I double it and I'm basically there, right?
Yeah.
That could backfire too, right? I go run the 15 and the last 5 are absolute hell. Then you walk back in the door like, can I do that? That's even worse.
Well, and you're like going to be on the couch the next day. And then you're going to be questioning, like, oh man, like,
yep.
I feel you. I'm training for Cocodona right now as well, which is a month before Holcomb Valley. And I'm, getting ready to run 250 miles. And it's the same thing, even though I've done it twice and I know I can do it. I'm in the same place of valuing high frequency over duration. And so I'm running twice a day, most days, but not very far. And I'm, doing that run when I'm really tired in the middle of the night. I'm intentionally making it more difficult, and I know that works for me. But it's still it's like this long-term game of trusting that it's gonna pay off when the time comes. Because during some of my runs, I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, "Oh, dude, 250 miles." Do you know how far that is? And it's like, I'm tired right now. I've been running for 30 minutes.
There is the opposite of that, even on shorter runs where you have a great run.
Totally.
And it was nice and fast, and it was a solid 5 miles, right? And then there's confidence there too, right?
Yes,
and okay, 6 times, it's a lot to do that 6 times back to back to back to back to back to back to back or whatever that is, but it's there's confidence there. I feel great, and I know I would have kept feeling great for a while if I'd have kept going. But yeah, trust the process. That's a big one, man. I remember that from other types of races where it's like you've done all the training, you've done the recovery, you've fueled, nutrition, everything's dialed, and you're ready to go, and you show up on race morning. Everybody has a moment of doubt, unless you're a psychopath, right? Who's like, I'm gonna win everything I do. Everybody has that little bit of doubt, like, am I ready? I don't know.
I hope we're building up to limit that, for you, and watch it kind of go away throughout the day. One thing, if we're talking specifically about the plan that you want to start considering is, I know we're doing some strength training, and in the gym and cross training, and you don't want to give that stuff up, but I think now is a good time to kind of start to steer it towards cardio based more than muscular building. If you're throwing around weights and stuff like that, maybe you limit the weights a little bit more. I mean, the idea is as we get closer to the race, we're going to specialize in running. So we're going to give up a little bit of the cross training and gym time to make more time for running. Not that those things aren't beneficial, but we've used them, and now we're going to kind of try to increase our running time versus our cross training and gym strength time. And then another thing for our mentality, I wrote down here, I just felt like running. It's a quote from the greatest American runner of all time, Forrest Gump.
All right.
But just the attitude of that scene where he just is in pants and a button down, and he just opens his door and runs out and runs down the road. That's, as we're valuing frequency, that's kind of the thing. It's going to become time consuming. Your mileage is supposed to be picking up, and now you're running 6 times a week. That's going to start to eat into your everyday life. So don't overcomplicate it. Just run out the door. I've talked to you about it before. I wear the same stuff. I wear the same clothes. And at points, I'm I got to put on the shirt. And it's oh my God, wash it, because it stinks. But it makes it very, very easy to get out the door. It's always in the same place. It's always the same stuff. Depending on the temperature, there's a thing I do or I don't grab, or, but it's always right there. It's always the same thing. And that's going to help a lot when it comes to increasing the number of times we run.
Yeah. But before we get into the actual specifics, there's a couple things there that I really like. And we should do logistics episode as well, where we dive a little deeper on laundry and such. Because that's something that I struggle with in my brain sometimes, rationalizing, when do I go? What should I put on? You know what I mean? Just get rid of all those decisions. Yeah. But it sounds like you've developed a little bit of a process for that I think we can dive into too.
It's impacting your life at this point, right? You would say you're running enough that it's become a thing in your life.
Yes.
Like
that was it actually. But yeah. So we talked early on about the schedule. That was part of month one, was figuring out when in my week that I can get out the door. It makes the most sense with the family and other obligations, and that's going to be important for everybody. But as like month 4 is now calling for more time, right? There's a consideration to be made there. Like, when is a longer run happening? Or if I'm running twice, like, how am I fitting in that second one?
Right.
So well, yeah. A little bit of planning.
Let's talk about the specifics. What are your times? What do you run? When do you run?
I have limited ability to run super early, but that's an option here. Like usually twice a week, I would say I can run before anything happens in the day, like super early, 6 a.m. around there. Yep. Maybe that's not super early to everyone, but that's early for me.
Yeah.
And there's typically a quick window in the afternoon, right? If I'm trying to do some stacking, work's done, I'm home, the kids are home, and I can just bomb out for 20 to 30 minutes. That's a reliable window. If I was a little crazier, there's of course the after everybody goes to bed window, which I have not tried yet.
My favorite.
Is it? Hardest, but maybe best. I don't know. It's an interesting thing that could become important this month, I think.
Yeah. Well, you have been able to make some of the run clubs, right? Are you incorporating that time into your weekly schedule? Like, are those?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's, of course we are kind of fortunate in the business we've built for ourselves here that's kind of part of my work day.
Right.
And yeah, but it's also the weekend, so that there is a compromise with family that's happening there. We do Friday, Saturday, Sundays currently. So I haven't yet made all 3 in a row. I thought I was going to do it last week. Didn't quite get there. The body needed that Sunday off. But yeah, so that's part of it. So yeah, we got early morning, we got mid morning that may or may not eat into work, which could get difficult. We're getting really busy. We've got a lot going on here at the company.
Yep.
And we've got the afternoon potentially. That's sort of like an on the whim thing. It kind of depends on what's going on, you know. And if I can bomb down to the end and back of the street, get a couple miles in, that's
so if I'm looking at what you're on the hook here for this this month, I would, if you have 2 mornings that you can put into running, I would back to back them, and I would put the tempo and a recovery run. So like if it's say Tuesday and Wednesday and you're going to go out early in the morning, Tuesday is a tempo run, and then Wednesday is like a recovery run. And then your midday stuff, I would add in, that would be like your hill repeats.
So fun.
Your long run.
Love those hill repeats.
And a hike. That's how I would structure it. And then you need to get in a couple more. Those are your like late your evening runs, or maybe your middle of the night runs. And I'm not even gonna those aren't structured runs. You're just trying to get out the door, get out there. You might feel like walking. You might feel like running. That's just like a run. Just get out there for a run. Don't put too much thought or effort into it. But it's an interesting process to go through. I mean, I come into it a little bit more from like multi-day stuff. So running in the middle of the night is something that like I have to get good at anyway.
Right.
Being sleepy and running, but where we live, like going out at 3 a.m. and running under the stars, and it's like freezing cold, and you're like up in the mountains. It's pretty special. Like, it's pretty cool. Granted, that's going to throw your workday into like that. It's not just that run.
Sure.
Right. It's like, you got to get up, you got to get your stuff on. It ends up being a couple hours, even if you're going out for like 40 minutes, you know, it's going to be a significant thing. And then, yeah, you got to wake up the next day. Do you have a easy run on the schedule the next day, you know, and then and your kids and everything. So use it strategically. I mean, like, don't ruin the rest of the week for it, but I would recommend throwing one in there, you know, to see how it feels. It's something different, you know, it keeps things interesting. As you dial in all your gear and your ability to get out the door anyways, it'll get easier. And you know, it's kind of fun. It's kind of like, it's about like the most rebellious thing you can do running.
You mix it up. You're out there in the middle of the night.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, even if it's you know, I could see people reacting like you're insane, right? Which is fine. And every now and then, I don't think it's that crazy to get out there in the middle of the night. But I think that the same thing could also apply for running at 9:30 p.m.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And you're still like, you're not setting the alarm clock and going through and maybe, you know, cannibalizing your morning with whatever you do for work and that kind of thing.
No, yeah, I definitely have a little bit more of a, you know, reason to run through the middle of the night.
Sure.
But the same principle could be applied to like after dinner, you know?
Yeah.
It's basically getting in a run when it's not like the opportune moment to go run. There are benefits that you're going to get from that. And like you were saying, and we were both talking about how we didn't want to run yesterday. And it's like crazy how much your mental space shifts after your run or even halfway through it. It's like, you know, then all of a sudden you're like, I should be going further. And, you know, then you're in a different space when you get back.
It's so fast. What's crazy about that to me is that I've never really done that with workouts, right? Like there's been other things where I'm like, I just need to get started and I'll start to enjoy it. But running, especially, like that's a unique thing, you know, because most people, I've never really trained for a running specific event that was this big. Right. So I never had the burning need to go and do it, even if I didn't really want to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could get away with, okay, I'll not do it. I'll just get up early and do something else.
Because you're going to make it to the finish of the 5K.
Right. Exactly.
Now you might not be fast at it, but you're going to make it to the finish.
Exactly.
But now that's on the table.
Yes.
It's like, am I going to make it to the finish?
Of course. Yeah.
Not only how fast is it going to happen, but like, am I even getting there?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. That'll get you out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I like how you started this when we were talking about building out a week that works for you and the logistics of it. So we're, you know, I have a couple early mornings available, and we talked about a tempo run and followed by a recovery run.
Yep.
Recovery being like as slow and easy as I can go.
Yeah.
Or?
Well, I would consider it more like a scale on a run. So I would walk a little bit longer at the start. Maybe, you know, one thing I like to do is I count in my head, but I skip forward. I'll count to 30 while I skip, like 30 skips. And then I'll turn to the left and I'll do side strides, you know, count to 30 side strides. And then I'll turn backwards and I'll go backwards for 30. And then I'll go to the other side. Right. So, you're activating your lateral movements and your stuff like that. And then like go through like a kind of a warm up progression on the run and get up to like a decent heart rate, like, and then back off and then kind of do the thing cooling down. That's kind of how I structure my recovery runs. If it's just going to be like a go out and plod along easy, low, like anaerobic output, like long thing, to me, that's not as much of a recovery thing. I'm looking at a recovery run more like it's going to include like some stretch, you know, like kind of like some like I'll bring my knees up for a little bit. I'll walk. I'll kind of take the run to like really work out any kind of you know, just, you know, you're running a lot, so you're going to get sore. You're going to feel things. Your hamstrings are going to be tight. You're going to want to stretch things out. that's kind of how I take on a recovery run.
So getting that body out of the constant step,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You know,
Especially
we're
if
doing
you're
a lot
on the
of that.
road
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Because if you're on the road a lot, you're taking the same step a lot of times. Now, as we move to trails, that's going to get like you're going to be taking different steps a lot. But still, like, how often are you like side, like stepping? So just keeping that would be a recovery run. And, I think that's going to be most important for you after you do speed work. So that's why I would kind of layer them like that. Speed work is going to be the thing that breaks down your muscles the most. That's so you go out and run hard one day, and then you take a full day to recover from it. And then you're going to want to like ease back into running again.
I like it. That sounds great. So then we also talked about hill repeats. A fun hike. I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
get out there and just go for a hike.
That's one thing we added was like, we're going to take one of our runs and we're going to make it a hike. A couple of big reasons for that. One, you want to enjoy yourself doing this thing. Hiking is super enjoyable. Two, not everything is about like how fast you can go. A lot of it is about how long you're on your feet, and hiking, you're going to be out there for longer, easier. So it's also time to like play with nutrition and fueling because you're going to be out there longer and you're going at a slower pace. You're able to digest food and eat food better. And so you can kind of play with stuff. See what you enjoy while you're out there, try out some different things. But another thing that another reason why you want to hike is you want to start getting vert in. So hiking generally is going to be like going up. I guess I just take that for granted around here, but like, hike up some hills, start to build that like uphill muscular system in there. And then don't beat your body up coming down. Just hike.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, that sounds great. Those are all pretty exciting, besides the hill repeats.
Well, and I think a big part about putting the hill repeats in the middle of the day is that they're going to be brutal. Like that's sufferfest right there, right? Because like if you do them early in the morning, you're feeling great and you're out there and it's like, oh yeah. But then like now you've already got the kids off to school and you ate breakfast and you came in and you did some work, and then it's like, oh, now I'm going to like go. I could go home and lay on the couch, or I could go do hill repeats. And it's like, that's a tough one. But we want to have some tough runs in there.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to circle back to that a little bit anyway, because we talked about it earlier with getting out there in the middle of the night and doing things like that. And it goes back to mindset, right? And in there, I kind of just connected these dots right now as we were talking through this, but there's a reason why we do so many hard things, right? I don't mean like hard workouts. I mean like 2 workouts, or getting out the door when you don't want to, or doing hill repeats in the middle of the day when you could do anything else, or you could have gotten it out of the way earlier, right? You've chosen to do it at the harder time mentally because in the middle of the race, shit's going to be hard.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just part of we're doing something big enough here that 20 miles go by, the sun comes out, it's blasting on my head. Like it's going to be hard. Yeah. I would rather be at home on the couch.
Yeah, man. You want to be good at not giving in to the hard part. That's like, that's the easy out. You're going to have easy outs in the race. Like there's an aid station every 5 miles you're allowed to quit at. I mean, other people are going to be quitting. And they're going to be sympathetic people at the aid station that are like, oh, you look like shit. Like, you sure you want to keep going? And they're just like, your wife and kids are going to be there like, oh, daddy, you don't need to keep going. You're like, oh, I got to keep going. You know? And like you're teaching yourself that you can make that decision, but you're also going to teach yourself that like it's going to feel better afterward anyway. So, those are like good lessons to have before you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
I love it. All right. We've got some workouts to do.
Yeah.
We've got a focus, which is frequency.
Yep.
And we've got a little mantra from Mr. Forrest Gump, greatest American runner of all time.
Absolutely.
I feel good, man. I'm going to take off and go after month 4. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Couch to 50K is an Elevated SoCal project. All rights reserved.